The most common question I get from English learners is, Luke, I understand you when you're speaking, but why can't I understand other native English speakers? It's the most common question. And the answer is not that simple. So we need to break it down a bit. In this video, I'm going to give you the 3 most common, most important reasons why you can't understand. And then we won't just leave it there. I'll give you 3 things you can do about it so that eventually you'll be able to understand any English speaker, no matter who they are. So let's jump into these. And these are in order. So the third is, I believe, the most important reason. Number 1 is connected speech. And it could also be speed, although I think that's less important. Now let me give you a simple example. I wanna go now. I wanna go now. I wanna go now. I wanna go now. Now, that's a pretty simple example, so you can probably understand. Your brain is separating the words so that you can understand, even though when I say it, the words aren't really separated. They're kind of smushed together. I wanna go now, right? But if you aren't used to that way of speaking, then it's difficult when you're listening to separate out each word. That takes a lot of practice. So the key thing here is not the speed, but is being able to hear the words when they're connected together. Another really common reason is accent. And maybe we could also say ways of speaking. This is a very common reason. You start to get used to one way of speaking, for example, from an American TV show, and you begin to feel, my listening is getting better, I'm understanding more and more. Then you hear a character from a different show with a different accent, and you feel, maybe not, maybe I don't understand anything. Well, what's going on? Your listening may be improving, but only for that accent. The bad news is that to really improve your English listening comprehension skills, you need to expand your horizons. You can't just listen to one way of speaking. And we'll get to that in a minute. The third reason, and this is the biggest reason, is cultural references. And here we could also put, I think, idioms, phrases, right? But really, cultural references. Even if your vocabulary is amazing and connected speech is not a problem, and you understand every accent, you still may struggle to understand. Why? Why? This is a big one, because at a certain point, it's not about the words, it's not about the accent, it's about this person referring to something in their culture that you just don't know about. Maybe because you didn't grow up in that culture. Maybe it's pop culture. It's a reference to a movie or a TV show that you haven't seen. Or something that's just kind of known, right? From, I don't know, being a student in that country. Well, how can you get that experience? I've learned everything there is to learn. I still can't understand because I don't know the cultural references. Well, what can you do about that? Let's talk about it. This video is sponsored by my 90-day program. This is the best way to improve your English in 90 days. It's difficult. It's intense. It's not easy. But is 90 days of struggle and difficulty worth a lifetime of fluency? If you don't think so, then ignore this. But if you do, if you think 90 days of struggle is worth a lifetime of fluency, then check out the 90-day program. What can you do to be able to understand any native English speaker, no matter who they are? There are 3 key things. Number 1 is to get out of your comfort zone, to get out of your comfort zone. So, what makes you feel comfortable? Maybe learning vocabulary or grammar or studying or something like that. Well, if you feel comfortable, then you're probably not experiencing a lot of really new things. If you're noticing that you're kind of getting to a certain level and not really improving that much, maybe it's because you're spending way too much time in your comfort zone. Now, I can't give you one simple thing to do to get out of your comfort zone because the comfort zone is different for everyone. So you need to be able to identify your comfort zone and know what is outside of it. If you feel really comfortable sitting there studying, then maybe you need to spend more time watching and listening. If you spend a lot of time watching and listening, but not much time interacting, then maybe you need to find more ways to interact, right? If you listen to a lot of American English and that's pretty comfortable for you, maybe you should be listening to British English or Australian English just to explore the full spectrum and breadth of the language. So identify your comfort zone and then get the heck out of it. Number 2 is to always feel the burn. Always feel the burn. So for this one, think about exercise. If you want to get fit, if you want to lose weight, if you want to build muscle, you have to feel the burn. That means don't just walk slowly, run so that you're tired, so that your legs are sore. If you want to build muscle and you're lifting weights and you lift, the 5-pound weights, the same 5-pound weights for 2 years in a row, you're probably not going to build muscle. You need to gradually increase the weight. Do the same thing for your English, for your listening. You watch movies with subtitles, try to turn them off because that's a little difficult. This is related to being outside of your comfort zone, yes. This is about pushing yourself, challenging yourself, doing things that are hard. So I'm asking you to suffer a little bit, right? Go outside of your comfort zone, and once you get there, struggle. Feel the burn. Turn off the subtitles. Really challenge yourself to understand everything that you hear from a video. Make a summary. Do a spoken summary. These things are difficult. So challenge yourself and do difficult things. And if it's hard, that's a good sign. That means you're probably improving because you're pushing yourself to do hard things. Whereas if you just sit back and relax and do easy things, you're probably not going to improve. You're probably not going to improve your listening skills. You're not going to become a better English communicator. Now, finally, and I think this might be the most important point, I want you to learn culture like its vocab. Learn culture like its vocabulary. Think about the cultural things as a thing to learn, rather than just learning a new word or learning a new phrase. If you hear a reference you don't know, ask a question. If there's nobody around to ask ChatGPT. Make notes, write that thing down, develop a sense of curiosity for the culture, become interested in one thing and then move on to another, right? Always making notes, always looking at the full context, explore humor, explore pop culture, explore music, explore history. The whole picture is the culture. This is where a lot of English learners kind of get lost because if you treat a language as a subject to learn, and it's just about grammar and vocabulary and rules, you're missing a very important piece, which is the big picture. And the big picture is, well, why did you say that? Why did this character in this movie say that thing? Oh, well, if they say that in that exact situation, it has a double meaning. One meaning is sarcastic and kind of funny, and another is kind of dark and relates to the theme of the story. Okay, so there's a lot going on just in that one line of that one movie, right? And if you have the opportunity to ask a question, to use not knowing the culture as a way to connect with people, definitely do that. And if you don't have that opportunity, then make sure to interact with something like ChatGPT to ask for the context, to understand the culture. So treat the culture as a thing to learn, just as you treat vocabulary or grammar or whatever. Learn the culture. And when you do that, when you kind of jump into the swimming pool of the culture of the language, then you start to see the connections, and it starts to get a lot easier. You start to understand more. So these are the 3 reasons that you don't understand every native English speaker, and the 3 things that you can do to eventually be able to understand any native English speaker. If you have any questions, let me know. If you haven't done so already, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. And check out the 90-day program in the links in the description. It is the best way to improve your English fluency in 90 days. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.